I'm not sure if I'll do this again. He did, in fact, do it again. I just graduated high school. With that being said, I decided to take another flight challenge. This is 6 flights in 2 days. But first, for those who are new to the channel, hi, I'm Sky. I'm a small-town plane spotter with big ambitions. My favorite hobby? Sharing about aircraft's history on planes you normally wouldn't research, as well as finding defunct airlines that I've never heard of. I also really enjoy sharing my video footage. Recently, I graduated high school and I'm committed to Kent State University in their professional pilot program, a dream I once had now coming to life. But now, let's jump right into the video. Welcome to McCook, Nebraska, a sleepy town of 7,253 and quite far from any major city with almost equal drive between Denver and Omaha. McCook is at least a 1-hour drive from any major roadway, so it's basically in the middle of nowhere. The terminal building is super tiny as well, with 90% of it being taken up by a security zone and a little roped off area, which is meant for the secure zone for people to board. I was most surprised about the newer bag scanner, especially considering only 18 people max are scheduled in and out of McCook daily on twice daily services from Denver Air Connect Metroliners. Hi again! Are you going to be pilot flying this time?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Alright. Check your last boarding pass. Perfect.
Cool.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you. I'm trying not to hit my head again. Is there a place where I shouldn't sit?
Huh?
Is there a place where I shouldn't sit? Oh, cool. I gotta tunnel my way over here. I'm sitting way in the back today. That sounds really cool. It's like the opposite. Alright. Actually, I want to move over here. Yeah. I like this seat. Oh, cool. Get that wing view.
Cheers. Of the Fairchild Metroliner, please follow along as, of course, some very important safety information. There are 4 exits on board: the front 2, door 2 over the right wing, 1 over the left wing. Please look at the exterior too. The cabin is pressurized for your comfort and safety, and unlike the event of loss of cabin pressure and oxygen masks, opening the seat pocket in front of you across the aisle. When you're checking by flight crew, remove the mask from the plastic bag, plug it into the receptacle above your seat, place the mask over your nose and mouth, and secure with the elastic strap. Secure your mask before assisting others. Your seatbelt must be fastened at all times except when the seat signs off. To fasten your seatbelts or if the fine metal fitting to the buckle to clicks, be tightened. Pull on the loose end of the strap to release, lift up the buckle pull apart. Slogan is prohibited at all times. Federal aviation regulations require passenger compliance with lighted passenger information signs, posted placards, and room restrictions regarding seatbelts and smoking. The cabin is equipped with a fire extinguisher. Look in the coat closet across from the passenger door to operate. Remove from the bracket all the fire pull the pin name at the base of the fire, squeeze out and activate. Thank you for your attention. Once again, welcome aboard.
It was in my ear, so yes and no.
Yeah.
I mean, I already can't hear because I sat way up there last flight.
Oh.
Oh my gosh. That's one thing you do once.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did it! Now I can't hear. As for the seat, it was really comfortable and had first class style legroom. I also got my wish on what the middle of nowhere America really looked like. No wonder nobody lives here, there's absolutely nothing. We took off normally from runway 22 and made a hard right and flew west, cruising at 18,000 feet. Soon we had to go southwest to avoid some gnarly storm clouds that if we flew through would probably end our flight very differently. We also descended to 14,000 to go under some pretty rough air and finally went through 10,000 feet for the rest of the way, avoiding the storm as we got closer to it. The storm cells were situated a little bit east of Denver, but they looked pretty scary. Luckily, we soon got lined up to runway 35 right, and we took off a little late at 5:13 and landed into Denver at 5:23 when we were scheduled to take off at 4:50 and landed at 5 due to the storm cells being over Denver at the time we were getting ready to depart. Our flight time was 1 hour and 9 minutes. Better time to talk about this aircraft than now, because all I could find were incident reports. I'm stealing this from my trip report too, so buckle up. Here we have our aircraft. This is a beautiful SA-27DC Metroliner with no information about its history. I'm using Aviation Database here, which is something I don't usually use because the UI isn't as friendly. Anyways, where I lack in aircraft information, I have loads of in incident and accident reports. So let's start at the beginning, shall we? On June 13, 2007, a pilot reported a main gear unsafe indication on rollout. Visually checking the gear, found the outboard turnion pin missing. On June 7, 2010, after takeoff, sparks were noticed exiting the tailpipe. Aircraft returned to airport and landed without incident. After shutdown, on pulling the engine through for cooldown, the engine caught and could not be spooled. Upon engine teardown, the compressor diffuser seal was found to have moved, allowing contact with the impeller. The seal retainer was worn away until the retainer ring released. On January 24, 2013, on climb through 14,000 feet, flight crew noted engine temperatures increasing and the bypass system activated. Power lever movement had no effect on engine and flight crew pulled the stop and feather control due to overtemperature conditions. Aircraft diverted. The personnel performed troubleshooting and found the fuel control unit had been ran away due to internal failure. Engine was removed from aircraft to conduct over-temp inspection of engine hot section. Supplemental report to follow. Defective FCU to be sent to vendor for evaluation. Supplemental report to follow. On March 20th, 2015, upon landing, the landing gear door warning light illuminated. On maintenance, found broken bolts on right main landing gear door actuator assembly. On March 26th, 2015, the pilot reported that the gear door warning illuminated upon landing found broken bolts on the right main landing gear door actuator assembly. That was the second difficulty of this type on this aircraft within 1 week. Replaced bolts and performed extensive gear retraction tests, found an actuator bell crank bearing worn and replaced. On May 31st, 2015, the right main landing gear failed to lock up in position after takeoff. Recycled landing gear successfully reported issue to maintenance after the flight cleaned and lubricated the right main landing gear. My goodness, what is up with this right main landing gear? On November 9th, 2015, the right main landing gear collapsed while towing aircraft into maintenance hangar. Aircraft sustained damage to aft fuselage, right wing nacelle, right propeller, and possibly right engine. Found bolts which attached positioning cams to upper drag brace. Sheared investigation into cause and cause factors underway. On March 21st, 2023, the pilot reported an E2 failure, spoolback, followed by chip detector light. Maintenance removed and replaced the first idler, diaphragm, and planetary gears. On March 10th, 2025, R&R number 3 main landing gear brake line bled, brakes, IAW SA22, yeah, no, that's all technical stuff. An FAA incident occurred in February 25th, 2004. On February 25th, 2004, at 8:05 Mountain Standard Time, a Fairchild AS-227DC, November 882 Delta Charlie, operated by Key Lime Air's Flight 375, was substantially damaged when it slid off the runway during landing wheel at Garfield County Regional Airport, Rifle, Colorado. The airline transport certificated pilot and the commercial certified first officer were not injured. The instrument meteorological conditions prevailed. An IFR flight plan had been filed for the non-scheduled domestic cargo flight being conducted under the provisions of Title 14 CFR Part 135. The flight had departed Denver International Airport, Denver, Colorado at 7:26. During a telephone interview with the pilot, he stated that an instrument approach was flown at a higher speed than usual, and as a result, the airplane touched down approximately 2,500 feet beyond the approach end of runway 26. The runway was met with rain. Despite the pilot's attempt to stop the airplane with brakes in full reverse on the engines, the airplane began to slide sideways and went off the departure end of the runway. The right main landing gear caught in the dirt in the end of the runway. The airplane tipped to the right, resting briefly on the right wing. The propeller blades from the right engine impacted the ground, sending debris into the right engine. The 4 propeller blades were bent, and outboard 2 feet of the right wing was bent up. Wow. If I knew all that information, I probably would not have gone on this flight, but I'm so glad nothing happened.
up, you'll be free to go, okay?
Thank you.
Enjoyed having you on board.
Yeah, thank you. You're getting bumped around everywhere. Nice job flying.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Oh, fraud. Don't want any fraud on here.
Have a good
Alright.
one, okay? Have a great
You too. Thank you. Of course. If you couldn't hear, they asked me to take my picture, which I, of course, said yes, as you heard. This now becomes one of my favorite photos of myself that I have, hence I use it in my intro. Before I finish up, I want to give a quick cost breakdown for the flight. The fare was $89, and that's it. Bare bones, but that's a-okay with me, especially with having 4 feet of legroom. Alright, hello everybody, and welcome back to Denver. A lot of the crew that were boarding the plane recognized me, like the rampers and stuff, and like, oh, so you just took a flight, huh? And I'm like, yeah, I just took a flight. It was a really fun flight, and I took it. Yeah, I don't know what to say. That was a lot, even though my ears may forever be altered by some Garrett engines. I think that's a-okay with me. Alright, walking up on my hotel after a lovely cabbie took me in his van. Got me here like 30 minutes before the other guy would come back because he just left. So here I am at the Hyatt House. Well, this is my hotel room. I was wondering why I was paying $150 for this. It's a freaking suite. And that's all my stuff. Shoes, backpack, and sweatshirt. I don't need this room. It's what I got, but okay. Alright, I severely messed up. When I was booking my Delta flights tomorrow, I thought I got Delta flight 623 or something. The 1040 out of Denver. So I can have over 4 hours of plane spotting in Atlanta. Apparently, I got the 431, which leaves me with a 51-minute layover in Atlanta. Knowing Denver, I know that they rack up a lot of delays in the afternoon, so I might be cooked.